What's up? Last year, I went to my ex-girlfriend's wedding. She was about 4 months pregnant at the time, and I hadn't seen her in like 3 years. I don't know if she just wanted to rub it in my face that she had found someone, or if she was trying to make her husband feel weird, but my being there felt kind of fucked up. And to make it even more awkward, there were all these people from our high school there. It was like my Facebook page come to life. There were a lot of people I sort of knew at one time or another, and they all seemed to have a bunch of stuff to say about their jobs and their kids and their home improvement projects. And of course, my reaction to all this was to start drinking heavily and wallowing in self-pity about all the failures and missed opportunities in my life. The wedding and the reception both took place at a certain nauseatingly popular Austin-themed bar and restaurant up on 19th Street. Yeah, that one. The first person I saw when I arrived was this guy, Kevin, who used to call me Teen Wolf back in high school because I was unusually hairy for my age. I still am. Fuck you. He was standing outside watching over his son while his wife went and smoked a cigarette. The kid, who was 7, was sitting on the ground playing a game on Kevin's iPhone where you touch this cookie over and over again. I asked the kid, "How do you play?" And he said, "You touch the cookie." So I said, "How do you win?" And he shrugged and said, "I don't know, you just touch the cookie." I smiled and patted him on the head like a schnauzer. Then I headed to the bar to cleanse my brain with a shot of whiskey. That page is blank. It's not like I hate kids or something. It's just inane conversations with people of any age drive me to drink. But for some reason, ignorant little kids are a thing that most people find very charming, and Kevin's son was definitely a charming little fucker. But I couldn't help but wonder at what point his ignorance would go from charming to destructive. That's what happens with all of us. That's basically the story of humanity. We're like a baby chimp that the earth got as a pet when we were all young and precocious, but now we've grown into these wild, hairy, rapist chimps who want to fuck every living thing to death and then finger paint with the blood. I don't want to get too dark here. But that basically means that every time another person is born, it's just one more generation of atrocity that the world has to suffer through. That's why I think the only honest way to have a kid is by accident. And I tried in vain to express this to my ex-girlfriend during the reception, but it wasn't really received very well. I just think that two people getting together and planning to have a kid is usually nothing but vanity, just an attempt to prove to their friends and family, or themselves, how meaningful their lives are. But what they're unconsciously doing is admitting that they have no purpose in life except as breeding machines, which on a biological level is true for all of us, I guess, but that's hardly meaningful. Now that I know how to make meaning, not that I know how to make meaning of life or anything, I just think an honest mistake is better than a well-planned lie. Yeah. And maybe a wedding reception isn't the best place to air these views, but about 4 shots and 5 beers in, I couldn't stop myself. And honestly, I meant it in a nice way. I just wanted her to know that in my eyes, she wasn't going to somehow be a bad or less capable parent for having an unplanned pregnancy. In fact, just the opposite. But she didn't take it that way. And I don't blame her. But then I don't know why she even fucking invited me in the first place. When I looked at her face, all I could think about was our first date back in high school. We went to see The Butterfly Effect at the AMC 30 on Westheimer. And I pretty much straight up molested her. We started gingerly making out about halfway through the movie, but a few minutes in, I just went ahead and thrust my hand down her shirt and proceeded to grope and slobber all over her for the next half hour, while she just sat there motionless. And that was her first kiss. She didn't tell me that fact until years later when she was home from college one weekend and we hooked up. And now I was at her wedding reception carrying on about how her oops baby was going to be a scourge upon the earth. But it really was a nice wedding. They had this country band from Austin play, and much as it made my eyes roll at first, they were actually pretty good. Unfortunately, though, while they were playing, I made the mistake of sneaking off to my car to go smoke a bowl by myself. And as soon as I hit that shit, my head started spinning. And after a few minutes of trying to fight it off, I just said, fuck it, and stuck my finger down my throat. Kneeling down and puking in front of my car is the last thing I remember. But apparently, I went back in the bar and drank more. Because when I woke back up in my car the next morning, I was shirtless, and my hands and jacket were covered in dried blood. What? I heard later that I came back in all fucked up and I tried to hit on my ex's mom, who I always did kind of have a crush on. And apparently in the process of attempting to woo her, I knocked over a pint glass and then tried to pick up all the broken pieces. Hence the blood. Then Kevin called me an Uber just to get me the hell out of there, but I told the driver to go fuck himself, and he refused to take me. So Kevin and some other guys just shoved me in my car and held the door shut until I gave up and passed out. No one ever found my shirt. You know, I assumed that everyone would be pissed off at me for getting so shit-faced, but apparently they weren't. The next day I had all these messages telling me how nice it was to see me, and a few Facebook friend ads, including from my ex's mom. I was really surprised. Nobody seemed to care that I was such an asshole. They apparently thought it was funny. I'm not sure what that means. My ex has since had her kid, and I had to unfollow her because of all the damn baby pictures and shit. And it's not that I'm jealous. I mean, I am jealous, but not of her happiness or whatever. I just feel like that kid could have been my mistake. I've made so many mistakes in my life, and they all suck. But a mistake like that has the potential to not suck. I mean, it probably will. Like, what if the kid dies? That'll suck. Or worse, if the kid is a huge asshole when it grows up, which it will be, because we've already established that people are assholes. But at least I'd have a really loud and annoying reason to get up every morning. I haven't really talked to anyone since the wedding. But I still stalk them on Facebook, and when I'm in a particularly self-loathing mood. My ex's mom just went to Belize with some guy who's like 10 years younger than her. So if that doesn't work out, I think I might have a shot there.